to be that voice of confidence and encouragement. Man, I don't know what I'm doing. That's okay. You don't have to know what you're doing. Nobody said you have to be perfect. Your kids don't have to be straight A students. I don't care if they go to Harvard. I care about if my kids go to heaven. Like, that's what matters. You be the best mom you can be for your kids, and I promise they're going to turn out okay. Like, just do your best, and that'll be enough.
You know, if I had a nickel for every time somebody told me I can't go to those things, it's so overwhelming, I would definitely be a wealthy woman. We're going to talk today about coming to the homeschool conferences or going to the how-to classes or the seminars or the women's retreats. We do the Rocky Mountain Homeschool Conference. We do Refresh, not just our events, but any event in general where you're going to be learning and why that's so important, how it's going to keep you from burnout. It's going to keep you from being stagnant, and it's going to help you just press into the calling that the Lord has given you. So we're going to have a really good conversation with a friend from Colorado that you guys are all going to want to find. She has a YouTube channel too. So this is a good one. Hang on. Well, welcome back. We are so excited to have you guys. We have a fun guest today. Megan and her husband, Rick, are going to share so many wonderful nuggets. We're going to put some contact information in the show notes because Megan also has a YouTube channel. And I'm telling you, you're going to want to binge her content. It's really fantastic, encouraging, real life stuff. So Megan is a second generation homeschooler. And I love the way she phrased it. She said, we were homeschooling before it was cool. So we were the weird ones.
Very much so.
The air quotes. I love that. And I love when you see a second generation homeschooler going into it. So how many kids do you have? I know you told me you have 4 kids.
So we have 4 kids. Yeah.
8, 6, 3, and 1. Oh my goodness.
1. Yes.
You have your hands
31.
full with a lot of moms. Megan is wonderful. And I have to tell you a little story. So in my role, I also support the homeschool groups in Colorado, the faith-based private groups. And I pray through the directory of the groups and the leaders. And Megan is a group leader as well. So in addition to being a homeschool mom and second generation and having a YouTube channel, she's also helping a homeschool co-op. So I've been praying for her. And then I found her podcast, or I don't know, podcast is the right thing, but the channel on YouTube, I found
video thing,
and I loved her, and I didn't put 2 and 2 together until I saw Megan at our recent Refresh conference. So it was so fun to go, oh, I have been praying for you already. So Megan, that was a long way to say welcome. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it. It is such an honor to get to be a part of this podcast. I love Czech. I mean, growing up homeschooled in Colorado, and it was Czech was like this mythological thing up in Denver, and it was like, ooh, there's Czech, and so then to be get to be on the podcast, I'm having to pinch myself.
It's
so
just
fun.
A full circle moment. I love it.
Yes,
because your mom was part of that first, your parents were part of that first movement. So can we talk about that first before we get into it? Today, we're going to talk about giving yourself grace and growing and having this mindset of you still are going to grow. You as a homeschool parent probably need to put that in perspective, that you have to continue that education. It's not just one and done. It's a process. A beautiful process. But before we get there, will you tell us a little bit about your homeschool journey? What made you start? Was it like you already knew I was homeschooled, I'm totally doing this? Or tell me about how you guys got there.
Yes. So I was homeschooled growing up. I'm the youngest of 4. So my sister is 11 years older than me. And then I have a brother that's 9 years older than me. And then there's a 6-year gap. And then I have a brother that's 2.5 years older than me. And then there's me. So I'm the youngest. Okay. And so I watched my siblings go through homeschooling and that kind of thing, and grew up in that, and grew up with a great co-op and stuff out in Eastern Colorado, and really just loved it. And I mean, there was days where I was like, oh, I want to go be with my friends at public school.
Sure. Like
every homeschooler is. I'm not going to pretend like I was some saint of a child, but I really loved it growing up. And I knew that's what I wanted for my kids. 100%, this is what I wanted to do, to the point where it was if I was going to date a guy, it was are you a believer? Are we on the same page spiritually? By the way, we're homeschooling our kids. And it was if you're not on board with that, you can take a hike, buddy. This is what we're doing, which it's really funny because my husband did not know any homeschoolers at all growing up. Had never met any, only met the really extreme crazy ones, and was like, you want to homeschool? And I was like, well, you married a homeschooler. And he was like, well, I guess that's a good point. I was like, you obviously thought I was normal enough to get married to, so I think it's okay.
there are a lot of misconceptions about what homeschooling is. It's becoming a lot more mainstream, so it's less and less, but you still get that. Like,
there's still like, how much denim do you wear? Like, do you know how to talk to other adults? Like, can you function in a grocery store? Like, yes, all of those things are normal. It's okay. Like, we're good.
I love it. I hear that quite a bit from a lot of people that have said it was one of the criterias in like dating for marriage, right? Like, we're obviously equally yoked in the Lord. And then how do you feel about homeschooling? Because this is important to me. So very good. I love that. And obviously you have a fun age group from little toddlers.
Really
so that
do.
the little toddlers make it challenging to homeschool sometimes.
They keep us on our toes. There's lots of noise and just background noise and chaos, but it's okay. It's really fun. Like, every day doesn't have to look the same, and that's okay. It's a fun time.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite Bible verses, every time I say that, it's like kind of saying this is my favorite child, because I love, all of scripture is inspired by God. But there is a verse that says a righteous man falls 7 times and gets back up again. And that is kind of what I think our conversation is going to be. Maybe not. And I said this when I said, let me tell you a little story, because we found a YouTube show that Megan did all about coming to the Rocky Mountain Homeschool Conference, which, Rocky Mountain Homeschool Conference is the branding for the conference, but we put it on. Check runs it.
Yeah.
So, and it was so beautiful and so well said. So let's just talk about that. I don't want to recreate it. We're going to put the link to that episode in our show notes so people can find it. But why do you think, because it seems to me from an outside perspective, I would go, okay, Megan was homeschooled, so she kind of knows, and now she is homeschooling. So why do you need to go to the conference? I hear that all the time. Like, I'm good. I know what I'm doing. So let's start with that. Let's just open the door with why is a conference important to you?
Yeah, I feel there's so many reasons, and it's hard to unpack all of them. I mean, I went into a lot of them in the video, so I won't repeat those. But for this one, like, I guess some of the first ones that come to mind is when you're in that room and you walk into that conference. Even growing up in Colorado, being homeschooled, it was bigger than I was expecting it to be. Like, walking in and seeing that many other homeschool families, which was really, really cool, because I think one of the number one things the enemy wants is to make us feel isolated and to make us feel alone. Kashia, I saw a stat the other day that just shocked me, but it said that over 70% of moms feel like they're alone in motherhood. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that's even higher for homeschool moms, because homeschooling can be really isolating because you're at home with your kids doing it. Like, yes, homeschooling is just staying at home, but it can be a very isolating feeling. And so being in that conference and seeing all these other moms that are just like you, that have kids the same ages, that are trying to figure out, hey, we use the same curriculum, isn't this fun? That is so encouraging and just so uplifting to be like, man, I'm not alone. And to realize that on the day when I am at home and dealing with my 5th blowout diaper, and there's a meltdown over math, and they're arguing about who's getting to read what book. And it's like, oh, okay, there is probably at least one other mom right now who's going through just as bad of a day as I am. And it's okay. Like, we'll go to bed and thank God for his grace, and we'll wake up in the morning and have a cup of coffee and thank God for his new mercies and go again. And it's like,
so true.
It's so encouraging to know that you're not by yourself. Like, you've got that community there, even if they're not right next door. They're here in this state and they're here with you, which is really special.
I love that you were surprised by it. And you're so right. It's the tactic of the enemy. You're the only one, nobody else. And he definitely is the accuser, so it comes with that negative stigma.
Yes.
So I heard a study, and I'm so bad about actually quoting it, but it made me really think and go, has proven to be true in my life, where they took these people and they took them to the bottom of a hill and they said, how far up is that hill? What do you think? And the people who were by themselves, by and large, and that's where I won't even pretend to know the numbers, but they, by a very large percent, said it was much taller than the people they asked when they were with somebody. So everybody at the bottom of the same hill, when they were
crazy.
I know. And that is why I love it.
Such a perspective shift. Like, you've got to have that.
Yes. Community. It's so important.
Well, hey friends, my name is Brian Gillum, and I'm the conference director from the Rocky Mountain Homeschool Conference. You guys, I want to personally invite you to join me at the Denver Marriott Tech Center, June 11th through the 13th. You guys will have over 110 vendors to shop with, over 50 speakers and children's activities presenters, including our 3 keynotes: Ken Ham with Answers in Genesis, Rob Reno with Visionary Family Ministries, and Rosaria Butterfield. as well as a phenomenal homeschooling community and so much more. You guys, head to the RockyMountainHomeschoolConference.com to learn more.
So, okay. So that was a shock for you. When was your first homeschool conference that you went to?
So I'm trying to remember. I think my first homeschool conference was 2021, I say, which would have been the year my oldest was starting kindergarten. And so we were going to go to that, and I went, and it was really fun because my siblings also homeschool their kids. So my sister and one of my sister-in-laws came, and we all went together and had like a girls' weekend, which was so fun. And so they'd stay at my house because I live in Denver, but they're both in other parts of Colorado. So they came and stayed with me for the weekend, and we went down each day, and it was so much fun. Like I loved it. It was such a special time.
I love that. I hear that as an objection a lot of times is the conference is too expensive. And that's the first thing I say is get some friends and make it a girls' weekend where you share on that. I mean, staying at your house, obviously, but even if you had to stay in a hotel and you had 3 other girls, exactly. It's much more affordable. Yeah.
Yes.
Totally. Well, I love that. And you're just adding more credibility to that, even though you are second generation and your sisters are also homeschooling, it became something that you were able to still do together and grow in. How was that? Do you remember that first experience? Was there a moment of being overwhelmed, and how did you deal with that?
I don't think it was necessarily overwhelming. I'm a very extroverted person. So it was one of those things where I was like, oh, people, this is so fun. I am very extroverted, which it can get me in trouble sometimes. Thankfully, it was so fun walking in and just seeing everybody there. Like, it's just this huge ballroom with like thousands of people, and you're like, oh, there's a lot of other homeschoolers here. And it was so fun to see, because I would see other people that I knew that I didn't know were going to be there that weekend. And so then it was fun. I'm like, oh, hey, you're here. Like, I'm so glad. What did you think about it? Did you get to see this speaker? That kind of thing. And so it made it this fun, tighter community that way of getting to see people that I was familiar with, but then also getting to meet people from all over. I met so many people who had traveled from out of state to come in to Denver for it.
Yeah.
That just blew me away. That I met a couple of ladies from Montana that had driven down. And I was like, you drove from Montana to get here?
Wow. And that's not a 5-hour drive.
No, I was like, that's like a hotel stay just to get to the other hotel to stay at. Wow. I was so impressed. It was so cool to get to see, meet all these different ladies and stuff, and see the dads there too, and the teenagers there with their parents, going down the high school track stuff, and it was just really special.
Yeah, you're right. Seeing other people's priority of it is really, really encouraging. Well, let's talk about it because I started with that a righteous man falls 7 times and gets back up again, and that's to not give the impression that homeschooling is all daisies and lollipops. It is hard. There are days, like you said, the baby is blowing out their diaper for the 5th time in one day, and those days happen, and they're not infrequent either. I mean, those trials will happen a lot.
Yeah.
And so it's not just even the Rocky Mountain Homeschool Conference. Obviously, we would love for you everybody listening, join us in June.
Everybody come.
It's more than that. It's about yeah, exactly. But it's community. And that's what I loved about what you were saying. So can you talk about that, the isolating and other ways that you've been intentional to overcome that?
Yeah. I think a big part for me was realizing that it's not necessarily that homeschooling is what's making things hard. It's just that life is hard sometimes. Yeah. Because the baby would be having the blowouts, whether or not I was teaching my 3rd grader math that day or not. That's just what happens. Babies do that. It's cars break down. It's not that your car broke down because you're homeschooling. Cars just break down. People get sick. Life just happens. Life be lifing. It is what it is. And you just happen to be homeschooling at the same time. Parenting is hard because parenting is a hard work to do. It's not that homeschooling makes parenting harder. It's just that you're also homeschooling at the same time. And so I think a lot of times we want to blame homeschooling for things that are just life. And to me, it's we want to focus on, homeschooling is so hard. I'm so struggling with this. I don't know. Maybe I should put them back in school and that kind of thing. And the whole reason you pulled them out of school was because you didn't like how their relationship was with their siblings. You didn't like how their attitude was. You felt like they were falling behind. And so then the solution is not to put them back in that same environment because you're now having to deal with those problems on a more day-to-day consistent basis. The solution is to focus on getting through those problems And then homeschooling will get easier as you get through that. I think a lot of times we think we go back to recreating the initial problem, thinking that's the solution. It's like, oh, God, I want you to make me healthy, but I'm not going to eat healthy and I'm not going to take care of myself and I'm not going to work out. Like, please bless this Cheeto and make it into a carrot stick on the way down. Like, it's like, nah, it's still a Cheeto. Like, you're still eating the Cheeto, And it's like, granted, the carrot stick probably isn't going to get any more flavorful the more you eat the carrot sticks, but that doesn't mean you should stop eating the carrot sticks.
Yeah.
Just keep homeschooling, keep doing that good work. And I think part of fighting that discouragement, like we were talking about, and fighting that isolation, is there's a couple key things to know. First, you just have to know yourself. And like for me, I needed to realize what it felt like when I was getting close to burnout and when I was getting to the end of the rope. And some of that was really honest conversations with Rick of like, hey, I need you to tell me, like, you seem really short with the kids right now. You seem to be on edge. Is everything okay? Are you doing all right? And then realize what I could do to fill myself up. One thing my mom and my sister and I did a couple years ago, we do a book club together, and we were reading through Sally Clarkson's book, Help, I'm Drowning, which is an incredible book. I love it. And in it, she talked about like creating what we decided. We created these store-made boxes of when the storms of life hit, you go open up the box and it's a verse, like list of verses that are encouraging to you, or a worship playlist that you can scan and listen to, or your favorite tea is in there to have a hot cup of tea, to just like light the scented candle that's your favorite candle and just like listen and take this time to like recharge and kind of level set yourself. And for me, part of that is taking time away from my kids and away from my family to do that, whether that's the refresh day or the homeschool conference, or if your church has women's conferences. Our church does a couple events, like one in the spring and one in the fall. And my husband's really great about always being like, yes, please go to that. Like, let me know as soon as you know the dates, like, so you can go, because you need those times to fill yourself back up. I think a lot of times, Kashia, we can really glorify this level of self-sacrifice of like, oh, like just keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And in reality, it's you need to take care of yourself and you need to figure out a way to fill yourself back up as a mom. And it's not selfish. And I don't even want to call it self-care. It's more stewardship of what you've been given. Because in my opinion, God gave you your health and your emotions and your mentality and gave you this calling of homeschooling your kids and doing this. And so you need to take care of yourself so you can do that to the best of your ability. Because selfishly, I would rather stay up late and sleep in the morning because I'm a night owl and that's when my brain comes alive and that's when the kids are finally asleep and in bed and I can have quality time with my husband and we can play video games or I can work on a project or do what I want to do kind of thing, and then just sleep in and I'll just let the kids wake me up. It's fine, But that creates that cycle of burnout. And so instead I need to say, no, I'm going to go to bed earlier. I'm going to wake up earlier so I have time to fill myself up so I can pour from a full cup and help my children. And it's just making that a priority. I think a lot of times we forget how necessary that is to take care of ourselves. And one thing that I have a dear friend who always reminds me of, even Elijah needed a snack and a nap. Like, it's okay to just have a cup of coffee, take a nap, like just do something to take care of yourself. So you're good to go.
I want that sign in my office. Even Elijah needed a snack and a nap. I love it. What I'm hearing you say is it does require a little bit of self-discipline.
Yeah.
So not to be, and I even love the way you said that, like we glorify this, like go, 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 just get it. You're going to be perfect. You can do all things. But we're not meant to do that. We're meant to be part of the body. And we all have different giftings, right?
Yeah. You got to have friends that you can call of like, who's your homeschool friend that you can call and be like, I need you to remind me that I am doing a good work and that I should not grow weary right now. Like, who can you call? Like, who's a co-op that you can be a part of? Like, find that community that you can plug into that can help you out. Because on those really hard days, you need that friend that can help you back up.
Yeah. Totally. And also sometimes it is perspective, right? Like maybe you need an outside voice that says, hey, have you considered trying something different? Because we get stuck in our routine or in our thought and we just want to, I don't know, I just want to plow through and I'm going to master this. It's not going to master me, but really a pivot is required.
Yeah.
Which perspective helps, right? That other people could give you sometimes.
Yeah.
So have you ever, I mean, again, I'm telling you, for those of you listening, check out her YouTube channel. You're going to be very encouraged. But have you ever had a conversation with a new homeschool mom who's feeling like, I don't even know where to start, because the basic of discipline of your kids, that's just out of control. what kind of advice have you given them? Or do you have reading material, or is this what you're getting at conferences when it's just the basics are not working?
Yeah. I think one of the things I would say to a new homeschool mom is if she's really struggling with that, like first I just want to encourage any mom who feels like you're in that spot. Man, every day is just so hard. I can't get my kids to listen. I can't get them to obey. Like I can't do any of these things. Like that can be so overwhelming. And honestly, the number one thing, like I've told people before, like I don't care if you can quote Charlotte Mason front and back, or Plato, or any other like philosophy education person you want to. If you don't know what the Bible says, it's not going to work. And so I always encourage moms, like, because me personally, like, I'm a believer. And so I always say, dig into God's word and dig into what the Holy Spirit has to say, because everything you need to know about your marriage, about yourself, about your kids is right there. And it's just press into God and he's going to help you. And you might say, Megan, that's stupid. It doesn't talk about algebra in Philippians. I've read it. You might think that I'm making this up. But when you're so like pressed into God like that, and you are showing that that's a priority, he's going to give you the wisdom and discretion you need to make those right choices. He cares about your kids more than you do. And I think it's so easy for us to forget that they're really his kids first, that he just gave them to us for 18 years and we're going to give them back. And they're just on loan for us, and he cares about them and has greater plans for them than we can imagine. And so it's like, work like it depends on you. Like, yes, put in the effort, put in the time, that kind of thing, spend time in the word, but also trust that God's got your back. Like however big your view of God is, it's too small. Like God is so much bigger and loves your kids so much more. And he wants them to have success in everything. And so he's got your back. He'll give you that insight to have that like little voice in the back of your head that's like, I don't think this is the right curriculum for us. I'm really hoping we can change it and find something different. And sure enough, you'll find something different. You'll talk to somebody. You'll see something, an ad that you needed to. Like he uses all kinds of ways to help you. And so just press into him and make your relationship with him a priority. And just don't give up, Mom, because I think it's really easy for moms to get very discouraged. And especially when you're new to homeschooling, I struggle to say this because I don't want moms to be like, this lady is real serious with this, but you need to understand that when you say, I'm going to homeschool my kids, you are painting a target on your back for the enemy. This is a spiritual war for your children. And he's not going to take it lightly that you said, I'm standing up, I'm going to set up a shield, I'm going to stand in the gap and protect my kids because this matters. And so he's going to attack you. He's going to send discouragement your way. He's going to send doubt. He's going to send fear. And so you've got to be in the word so you're built up and ready and protected from that. And you can say, you know what? I know what the Bible says. I know what it says here. And I'm going to keep following on what God has called me to. And I'm going to stand and trust that God has your back.
Yes, I love it. You're so right. And we do need to fight that spiritual battle with spiritual weapons.
Yes.
So good.
Yes.
I wanted to be like, preach. It's so good. We're getting close to the end already of our time together. But in light of just understanding that we do need continual exhortation, we need continual community, we need to continually have that outside perspective and be iron sharpening iron. That's what these conferences and all these learning events are about. It's kind of even your channel. Tell me, what was your heart behind? Why did you start your YouTube channel?
Yeah. So for me, I always laugh with my husband that I have probably an overabundance of confidence in my ability to do things right. And so for me, the idea of homeschooling and like what curriculum I was picking and even, all kinds of things. Anybody who knows me well can tell you like, yeah, Megan rarely doubts herself. That doesn't mean she's always right, but she rarely doubts herself. I have that confidence, which is kind of a goofy thing, but I realized that not every mom has that. And so I wanted to be that voice of confidence and encouragement and to just tell these homeschool moms that maybe that didn't grow up with it, that weren't familiar with it, that are like, man, I don't know what I'm doing, to hop on and say like, that's okay. You don't have to know what you're doing. Nobody said you have to be perfect. Your kids don't have to be straight A students. I don't care if they go to Harvard. I care about if my kids go to heaven. Like that's what matters. You be the best mom you can be for your kids. And I promise they're going to turn out okay. Like just do your best. And that'll be enough.
I love it, Megan. And I really do think that's exactly my encouragement. And on this podcast, I love to interview the homeschool moms and the fathers, obviously, because you guys are the heroes. You guys are the ones who are taking the commandment to train your child up in the way they should go seriously. And it's so refreshing, and homeschooling gives me so much hope. Megan, you are a delight. Thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you so much for having me on. This was so fun. I really appreciated it. Like, this was such a fun conversation, and I just loved it.
I hope the audience can hear that you got to plug into Megan, because she's got a lot of little nuggets to share. But we like to close all of our interviews just asking favorite homeschool tip. If you have one tip related to this or not, what would you leave us with?
I think my one tip, if I was going to pick just one, and I'm going to keep it on the theme of the conference because that's what we've been talking about, is I would say the difference between, because you might say, Megan, I don't have time, I'll just listen to another podcast, I'll just read something else, like that kind of thing. For me in my house right now, we use baby wipes to clean everything, like clean the table, the baby, the wall, like all the things get cleaned with baby wipes. Reading a book or a podcast and that kind of thing is great, but it's the same thing as trying to get yourself clean with a baby wipe versus jumping into the pool. So like jump into the pool and be in that conference and just immerse yourself, and it's going to be 100 times more refreshing. And really, like, I always tell my husband, like, every time I go to a conference, it recharges my battery for the whole year and I'm good to go. Like, and so if you're feeling discouraged, if you're feeling down, if the end of this homeschool year is coming to a close and you're like, we have to start again in the fall, like, please go to the conference, because it is going to refresh you and fill you up in a way that you could never imagine. It really will.
Forget that baby wipe. Dive in. That was a beautiful bow. Thank you. Well, thanks for being here, Megan. Thanks to the audience for being with us as well.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for joining us today. The Colorado Homeschool Podcast is a ministry of Christian Home Educators of Colorado. We have been motivating parents to disciple the next generation by embracing home discipleship that is Christ-centered, parent-directed, and free from government control. We invite you to join us in this mission. If you want to support homeschooling in Colorado, go to check.org/donate. In the meantime, share this with your friends and make sure you subscribe. That really helps us. Thank you.